also go very bad at campsites, which is where we're coming from, back for another review of the continual saga of Jason Voorhees and Jason 4.
This is the final chapter. It's got this like real end of the Jason Voorhees series look, and it's not.
To think like this maybe was where they were going to cut it off essentially, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we're now in it. So it's a bit weird that they're like, all right, bop, bop.
This is the beginning of a trilogy. Whether it was meant to be that way or not, like this is where we get introduced to Tommy Jarvis, Corey Feldman at the beginning of his career. This is where, you know, we get the full-blown hockey mask. We get Tom Savini back in the film. This is like one of those shoehorns in the series that more solidifies like the undead style Jason, and it brings on like the need for funner characters.
We balance in this movie between our camp counselors and the Feldman family. It would have been a very easy decision to just be like, all right, this is our chum for Jason. But we never lost sight of the camp counselors, and this batch I thought had the most personality with the whole, you're a dead fuck. It's like they had just so many inside little dialogues. So it's these two groups, but even between them, we kind of have people pair off. We have more unique interactions, which just makes for a more, again, lived-in experience.
They bank so hard on what makes the series fun, and that's just like sex and drugs and rock and roll, and it's like you gotta enjoy the characters, you know what I mean? And you gotta have fun with it, and everybody has these little like personalities, and you're always like, oh, like I hope they are okay. And like I feel like half the audience was like Tommy watching through the window. It's like, you know, you're not supposed to enjoy this, but you're like watching anyway, and it's just it's such a fun thing. It's like that's what Friday the 13th movies are about.
I love Eli Roth's stance on delaying the kills till later on, but this film is almost anti that idea. But it does support it in the way where developing those characters does give you more gains in the end. We satisfy that bloodlust pretty early on with some of those side characters, still given enough like identity where we're like, oh, I'm kind of bummed that they're gone. My personal favorite being the very short-lived hitchhiker girl. She was just trying to get a ride, hitching a ride, and then Jason just murders her as she's just eating a banana, getting her daily dose of potassium. So far, she's probably the person that got done the worst in this whole series as far as unnecessary violence, but it was just one of those slasher kisses where it's just like, it's so good.
I think it does a better job with characters than 2 and 3. By far. Here's the deal, like with Friday the 13th, that you could jump in almost anywhere. Like there's not a lot of places where it's like, oh bro, you can't watch that one. Maybe after like 9, you can't do that after 9. But if you're really like about like you saw number 1 and you're like, hey, I haven't watched a Jason film, you could probably skip 2 and 3 and jump into 4 if you really wanted like a cool like continuation. Because realistically, it's again Tom Savini. It's very like gory. It's very heavy on practical effects. We get this more undead, like unstoppable force Jason, which is really fun. Like to be honest with you, like we said in the last film, it's like these movies literally just kind of repeat themselves, and it's like what makes them fun is how they repeat themselves. Like what character do we bring in? Like how does this become like more entertaining than the last one and not just repetitive and boring? Like this one kind of gets like all out, and I think everybody really tried a little harder in this film. It feels like everybody really gave it their all.
The only nitpick, and again, it's a very small one because I guess we have to do that because otherwise we're not hard-hitting journalistic reviewers here. We don't come with the criticism.
It's a real review show, okay?
Yeah, definitely. They succeeded so much with making Jason the unstoppable Terminator hockey player that he is, where I was like, man, how are they going to stop Jason Voorhees? And it was the old standby. What's his one weakness? PTSD. Poor Jason just needs to talk to a therapist because he has definitely, I mean, you got drowned as a kid. Get over it. We get it. Now, I will say the showmanship with Mr. Feldman, he committed to the bit. I wonder if he was wearing a bald cap. For his sake, I hope he was wearing a bald cap.
I'll speak for myself. I will be like, it takes me a minute for my shit shower shave. All right. And I'm going to be honest with you. He made that shave happen pretty damn fast. Like I got this is from post-mortem, and I think he does a pretty good job at depicting that. Like he just got little hairs that are left around it. Like that was essentially what it was. It was just this like chopped up little thing. And granted, he's a movie magic, little costume guy, but I'm like, damn, he made that happen fast. It takes a while to make this look as good as it does. I'm like,
if we were successful, this is where we would cut to a Dollar Shave Club ad of some kind, or some sort of shaving related sponsor. Sponsor cut in here. Yeah.
It's not the worst way to stop Jason, and realistically, like it's probably the last time this kind of kill scene will work, because as we discover as we go on from here, it becomes more zombified, like unstoppable beast, and we get more creative in how we slow him down, stop him. The only thing I would nitpick about the film is this random dude that comes out from nowhere, and he's a hitchhiker, and his only shoehorn purpose is to show Tommy a picture of Jason as a little boy, and that's how he comes up with his haircut.
I definitely agree with you on his storyline. I enjoyed, again, that connection to the first one, but like you were saying, it only went as deep as like, remember? There you go. Remember, keep that in your mind, because you'll need that.
His whole thing, I think, was probably my only gripe, because you're like, whoa, this is the tough guy who's going to help him. You know what I mean? He's there. He's ready to fight Jason. And it's like literally, The Shining, where the guy finally shows up and gets axed in the back. So that was probably my only complaint. Getting to see Corey Feldman, I mean, this is the beginning of his career, and he just jumped into the Gremlins and Goonies after that. And we do get a small cameo of him again in the next one. I mean, it's a lot of really good horror movies in the 80s, and it's just like Corey Feldman has a way of culminating through a lot of those. So I think that's one of the magics that are behind this film and makes it really as good as it is. Easy 4.5 star slasher film for me.
Going back and looking at our Halloween review, I was like, man, I don't know what franchise would bum me out if they fucked it up. I'm kind of getting there with Friday 13. I'm like, oh, I hope they don't mess it up. I know there has to be some things where it gets controversial. You kind of spoke a little bit to the fact that maybe the next one might be a bit controversial, and I'm looking forward to seeing how my opinions form around that one. But for right now, I'm gonna be with you on a 4 to 5. Should I be preparing myself for part 5?
I mean, you liked Halloween Ends, so I'm sure it'll be like, what? How did they come up with this masterpiece?
Mr. Nick, it's the Credo camp counselor that you are.
Stupid Review Show. It's blood, guts, spit, and ass. You know where to find us.